The life of luxury in Los Santos. Penthouse views, rooftop pools, and the finest interiors that money can buy. But not every home in GTA 5 screams success. Located in Grapeseed, this small single-family home is the pinnacle of rural retail living. But then again, they also say that this house is all about location, location, location. So buckle up, because whether you're living the high life or you're still stuck in a shoebox, it's time to find out which home truly deserves all of El Rubio's hard-earned cash. Now, some of you might be worried about budget, but don't fret, because beggars can be choosers with this waterfront property in Sandy Shores. Being another low-end property, it's important to mention that every low-end apartment has an identical interior with spotless kitchens, new carpets, furnished bedrooms, and modern bathroom vanities. But in all seriousness, it also means they have the same shitty view of a distant, low-rendered Mount Chiliad with no detail. However, this angle doesn't make any sense for this particular home. Heading north, we have a much nicer house in Paleto Bay. However, this beauty is only on the outside, as the inside is still the same shitty layout that needs serious work. It did score better in the location category, as it does double as a spawn point all the way up north. Changing gears from small town houses to big city apartments, we head to 2057 Vespucci Boulevard, Apartment 1. Aside from the building looking dingy and the garage being partially blocked by shrubbery, this apartment also comes with free roommates. As the listing description says, bring your imagination and an exterminator. In 54th, we have the mid-range apartment of royalty, the Royale Apartment 19, which might just be a stage name, because despite this having a nice walkway and a snazzy name, the front door defies physics and opens in a reverse way. People are just gonna drive up to it, but okay. What did the door just do? What did the door just do? Which is one of the many things we discovered earlier this week on a live stream where I purchased every single apartment, all 58 of them, just so I could get a closer look at them and see what the views were like. 12 Sustancia Road is another mid-range apartment, meaning, like the Royale, it has a slightly nicer interior compared to the low-end ones. Featuring a cleaner and more open concept design, this interior has no view, with the exception of the shadow of a tree that doesn't even exist. 12 Sustancia Road is also in a horrible location, located all the way down in El Burro Heights. 1561 San Vita Street, Apartment 2 is actually 1564, according to the number on the outside of the building. But again, this is basically your bog standard bedroom with 4 walls and a garage. And it goes back to the low-end apartment interior. At least the view kind of makes sense here, distance-wise. 2143 Las Lagunas Boulevard, Apartment 9 is basically the same as per scoring, with the same interior, similar price, comparable appearance, and identical views. However, the description is what bumped this into 51st. What this Hawick apartment lacks in space and all-round condition, it makes up for in proximity to the local liquor store. Drown yourself in debt and your sorrows. Now that makes me want to buy the house. Similarly located next to an ammunition, liquor store, Up and Adam, and a wigwam, 1237 Prosperity Street, Apartment 21 also offers close proximity to the cemetery. One downside I had was how your car spawns when you leave the apartment garage. Oh, this is a weird angle to put you out of the garage. Moving on to the cheapest apartment in the entire game, 112 South Rockford Drive, Apartment 13 has a semi-partial ocean view. So again, it might not be the best place to brag about, but given today's housing prices, maybe just owning a bed is something to brag about. Heading back towards Del Perro, we have 1115 Boulevard Del Perro, Apartment 18, which is our second best low-end apartment, which looks cleaner on the outside than it is on the inside, and has questionable access points, which wasn't helpful. 604 Las Lagunas Boulevard, Apartment 4 takes us back into the mid-range apartments, but has the worst access in the game. Sure, the garage is accessible from inside the building, but the front door is on the back and on a totally different level from the garage, meaning it requires you to walk all the way around the entire building just to travel from the outside of the garage to the outside of the door. Heading back up north, 4584 Procopio Drive in Paleto Bay has a great yard and a 6-car garage, being across the street from the ocean, though it still only has the view of the blinds with the shadow of the tree, so that doesn't really matter. Dream Tower is a lot cleaner and located closer to downtown with access to this building's community pool. On the contrary, despite being on the 15th floor, you still get that same sad shadow of a tree in your window, which makes no sense. Hey, Dark Viper, I hate to do this to you, but I gotta dox you. This you 0069 Cougar Avenue Apartment 19 may not be the best apartment, but since it's home to this famous Australian, it does make it the best low-end apartment in the game. It also has a great description and even sets a goal for Matto. This fixer-upper offers stunning views of the cemetery to at once remind you of your mortality and motivate you to get your act together and buy a better apartment one day. But the real question is, are there cougars on Cougar Avenue? 504 South Mo Milton Drive is your baseline mid-range apartment, being just as bland on the inside as it is on the outside. 325 South Rockford Drive is the same story, just barely sneaking into 42nd because of its nice exterior design and newer coloring. The front entrance, however, is located on the opposite side of the building from the garage entrance, which is an annoyance. Now, although it's not even in the top half of apartments, 605 Spanish Avenue Apartment 1 probably has the best descriptions. This newly renovated one-bedroom in downtown Vinewood is a steal. Hurry, this one won't last. It did last. 10,000 price reduction. Crazy value. Move now, the price is right. Everything's negotiable. Motivated seller. Reduced again for quick sale. Oh, will someone just buy this already? 4401 Procopio Drive is our last property located outside of the city, being the best ranked house in Blaine County's northern regions, mostly just due to its accessible yard and rustic feel. When I first drove up to 1162 Power Street Apartment 3, my first thought was, where's this? Oh, we're right near the skate park, so that's cool. Which apparently was exactly what the realtor was thinking. 184 Milton Road, Apartment 13 is the last of the boring and bland apartments. Though it has a nice exterior and decent location, it again doesn't have any view whatsoever. But first, we need to take a detour south of the city to 115 Bay City Avenue, Apartment 45, which is the one and only waterfront property in the entire game. Now, it may not be the prettiest apartment complex, however, this location right off the boat docks and a short walk from the beach is hard to beat. Now moving into the high-end side of apartments that we can buy, we'll see apartments with open interiors, updated interiors, stilt houses with various layouts, and even some customizable penthouses. However, there's still one mid-range house that we haven't seen yet, and you'll be surprised to see just how high it scored. Starting at the Del Perro Heights building, Apartment 4, we have this nice, sleek building just across from Maze Bank West. Having an updated interior, this apartment's layout is all on one floor, with windows on just one side of the building. However, the updated interiors have been deemed as a worse alternative to the regular interior, so that actually hurt its score a lot. Hillcrest Avenue is no stranger to stilt houses, and 2862 is unfortunately the worst of the lineup. Despite having a nice orange wood color scheme, its almost great view of downtown is off angle and has a big tree obstructing your view, which might be good if you're a bird watcher. Just a few houses down, 2868 might look more bland on the outside, but its clear view of the skyline and Eclipse Towers is really nice. 2117 Milton Road is blatantly brown with a private front yard and a decent view. The only reason it got 33rd is because of the increased privacy you get. 4 Integrity Way is my choice of apartments, being located in the heart of downtown and close to the offices. However, Apartment 28 is by far the worst of the options in this complex. Having the horrible updated interior and a luxury view of the construction just north of the apartment, it's probably worth passing up. 2113 Mad Wayne Thunder Drive continues to showcase the red stilt house interior with views facing downtown. There are plenty of trees and greenery in your view, but not obstructing it, which really makes the colors pop from your bedroom. Finishing off Hillcrest Avenue, we have this stilt house, which features a great view of Eclipse Towers again, but also boasts views of the city skyline from the kitchen, which isn't a bad view to do dishes to. 2044 North Conquer Avenue is the first stilt house we see with interior design number 2, the black and white design that also showcases a different staircase layout. This is actually my preference for the stilt houses, and I wish we were able to pick and choose between the two. 3655 Wild Oats Drive is the first of only 2 houses you can own that give you access to your own private pool, located on the balcony with views of the distant downtown scene. Again, having the second interior design gives it a little bit more edge in this ranking. Finally entering the extremely popular Eclipse Towers for the first time in 27th place is apartment number 3, which is the worst option you could choose for a few reasons. 1, it has that lackluster, updated interior with limited views. 2, the view itself is of Vinewood Hills and isn't very far off the ground, meaning there isn't much to look at. And 3rd, there's just better options inside this building. Richards Majestic is a, majestic looking building that is very proudly labeled with its name. The building itself is stylish and bougie, but the updated interior once again makes apartment 2 the worst within this building. However, its view of the freeway and downtown was almost enough to salvage it, if only the other window didn't just point directly into the neighboring Weasel Plaza. 2874 Hillcrest Avenue has a covered carport area, which means for the short period where it snows, you wouldn't have to shovel. It also has the superior Stilt House interior and a decent westward view. Circling back to Del Perro Heights Apartment 7, we once again have the same sleek building near the metro station. In this case, we have the regular and OG apartment interior, which just makes the space feel larger. However, you really have to embrace the view of that back alleyway being this low on the building. Apartment 20, however, is located on a much higher floor, which was the sole reason this pricier option scored higher, since you aren't looking directly into the alleyway. Tinsel Towers has always been a mini version of Eclipse Towers to me, and it was my OG apartment back in the day. However, being shorter, many assume its views couldn't be as nice. However, with views of the downtown skyline from the kitchen, couch, and bedroom, it actually makes up for the updated interior, making it the best of that category. 3677 Wispy Mound Drive is located right down the road from Franklin. However, you may need to buy a chainsaw because there is that one tree that completely blocks the better half of your view. And I'm going to remember this when it comes to ranking all 32,000 of them, which will only happen if we hit 100,000 subs by the end of the year, which leaves you with roughly 1 month to make that happen. After that, the very idea of ranking any trees whatsoever will be completely out of the question. I'm never considering it again. So, 1 month, make it or break it. 2045 North Conquer Avenue is my personal favorite and the highest ranked Stilt House. It has a stylish design, isolated and private location with a view overlooking Vinewood Boulevard and the downtown skyline. One reason none of the Stilt Houses place better than 20th is because there's no option to travel from the home to the garage without going completely outside. That being said, 2045 North Conquer Avenue actually has a detached garage, making this the only time that the missing feature actually makes sense. Weasel Plaza is located just across the street from Richards Majestic and is based on the real-life Nakatomi Plaza, which featured in the Die Hard movies. Apartment 26 is the lower of the two apartments in this plaza, and because of this, the view is fairly obstructed from the other building. Meanwhile, Apartment 70 has a different view being higher up and on the western side of the building, looking over Del Perro and the beach in the distance. On the north side, you also get a great view of the nameplate for the Richards Majestic building, just in case you couldn't afford an apartment in that building, but you really adore the building itself. In the city center, we head back to 4 Integrity Way, specifically Apartment 30. With a private underground garage located around back, the access isn't ideal, and the view faces a bit of construction, and directly into the Arcadius building, which works for me having an office there. Moving up in the building, Apartment 35 has better views of the freeway, and on the other side of the building, the FIB and IAA buildings, making this a good chunk better than the other apartments within the complex. Circling all the way back to Weasel Plaza, we head right to the top, at Apartment 101, which has a great view of downtown and everything else south of the freeway. One thing that makes little sense is the garage access for this building, as it is a detached parking garage, yet unlike the Stilt Houses, you can still take an elevator there. Eclipse Towers Apartment 31 is another standard layout with views facing north towards Vinewood Hills and west towards the golf course. Nothing too fancy here. Transitioning to the first penthouse, which is also located in Eclipse Towers, Penthouse Suite 2 has the added benefit of offering unique cosmetic customizations and styling, though it isn't the best view, only overlooking Vinewood Hills and a little bit of the golf course. Finishing off Tinsel Towers, apartments 45 and 29 have opposing views. 45 pulled the short straw, facing Eclipse Towers and the Vinewood sign in the distance, though for only $16,000 more, you can buy Apartment 29, which faces the city and gives you a direct view of Los Santos Customs, so you can watch the nightly car meets from the comfort of your own home. Breaking in the top 10, we head right back to Eclipse Towers for Apartment 5, which is even higher up and boasts a better view, again being on the less desired side of the building, which is unfortunate. For 9th place, we stay in Eclipse Towers and head to Penthouse Suite 1, which again has the customizable interior which really adds to its desirability, and was enough to put it above Apartment 5 despite costing over twice as much and having a similar view. Okay, I feel like I'm getting whiplash just going back and forth between all the same buildings, but you gotta go back to Richards Majestic. Apartment 51 has the regular interior again, but does have windows facing Life Invader, the pier, and a distant view of the airport, which hasn't been offered much thus far. Back to Eclipse Towers, Apartment 9 overlooks Vinewood Boulevard and has the same typical interior, which admittedly looks pretty boring after seeing the penthouses and looking at this layout for so long. The biggest setback is the massive crane that sticks out like a sore thumb. If only we were able to get this on a higher floor. Now, do you remember back when I said that there was one more mid-range apartment left? Well, despite only having a 6-car garage and that same semi-open concept layout with the tree in the window that doesn't even work, 4 Hangman Avenue still managed to place 6th. This simple bungalow features Stilt House equivalent views at prices on par with 12 Sustancia Road all the way back at 53rd. This house is probably the closest thing to a mansion that we can own and has been in the game for far longer than Stilt houses. Having a patio, barbecue, backyard, fountain, and a private pool, it was impossible to give this a bad score. Moving on to 5th, we have a building that we haven't even visited yet. 3 Alta Street Tower, apartment 57, is on the southernmost end of downtown. Having an older exterior, this building offers a Bean Machine coffee joint and underground parking. As for the view, apartment 57 faces southwest, so you can see everything south of the city, whereas every other property has this part of the map obstructed. Eclipse Tower's apartment 40 is the best regular apartment in the tower. Being higher up and facing downtown, it has all the benefits of apartment 9, but with less distractions from the crane. Earning a spot on the podium, 3 Alta Street Tower apartment 10 is higher up, and despite having one window facing the incomplete Mile High Club, the rest of the views face the interior of the city, which gives you a bird's eye view of the hustle and bustle, similar to the Maze Bank Tower office. Claiming silver, Richard's Majestic returns with apartment 4, and likely would have scored better if Weasel Plaza was just a smidge farther to the west. Regardless, it gives good views of the sunrise and is again located right off the freeway. One point I never mentioned about the Richard's Majestic building that pisses me off is the fact that there's a revolving door out front and we don't even use it. Which means it's time to crown the best apartment in the entire game, and it should be no surprise that we're headed back to Eclipse Towers. Penthouse Suite 3 is the highest in the building, and again features the 8 unique interior options that even slightly change the layout, furniture, and color scheme. Lastly, the view is what really sealed the deal, giving you a flawless and unobstructed view of everything south of Vinewood Boulevard. The one big downside is the price. At $1.1 million, this is the priciest apartment in the game, but it's definitely staying in my property portfolio for the foreseeable future.